So in today's session, we are starting with actual concepts. Okay. So actual concept starts with the reports. We'll try to understand this and we'll try to create the requirement report. Okay. And we have the different types of reports. We will create all kind of reports. What's this? Okay. I think you're able to see my screen, right? Hello.
Yeah, Kishore. Able to see, yeah.
So we'll just try to understand the report here. We have the different definitions for the report. Okay. So SAP report is an executable program that reads the data from database and generates the output based on the filter criteria selected by the end users. So selected criteria means whatever the user is provided inputs to the selection screen, which we created using parameters, select options, at selection screen, the begin of block, end of block, check boxes, radio button, those all comes under selection criteria. Okay. So filters also we can do there only. So now we have number of data in database. Student example, student information. We are giving location as a filter, or we can give department as a filters. So all can be provided through selection screen itself. Or we can say reports are the representation of data as per the user request. So this is one representation of data. This is the one example output. You can see a customer balance in local currency. So here we have two tables and two individual headings. We have a total amount here, which is showing. Okay, again here it is showing another total amount for this report. Okay, so if you want to see this information, we can see through S11. But why we need the report? This is the specific format requested by the client. If they want information in this format, S11 will not support. Or SC16N is there, which is function, which is a T code using by the functional. That is also not possible because those SC11, SC16N both are representing in the table format only. In custom format, we can't able to display the data. Okay, so we can say report is a presentation of data in organized structure. This is one of the organized structure in this screen. Okay, so that is about a report. The purpose and use of reports normally. Okay, so major cases we are using these four scenarios. Okay, reports are used to read the data from number of tables and process before presenting. These are that for all entries concept in the join concept. If you want to read data from number of tables, multiple tables, then we are using a reporting concept. Because S11, SC16, again it is supporting only for single table. We can't able to display two tables data at a time. There are some standard transaction, but standard transaction we should not give access to the end users. That is one reason. And as per standard transaction, we can't able to see multiple tables data at a single output. That is also not possible. Our reports are used when there is a demand on special format. The previous slide I was shown, that is a special format. That time also we will use reporting concept. Are used when the report has to be downloaded from SAP to an Excel sheet or Notepad or CSV format to be distributed across. Like if you wanted to send some failure write-offs, that is one report. We need to send that failure write-offs to uncertain. Then we used to develop one report, and when you execute report, it will download. It will ask the file path where to download. You can download your lab, and then you are attaching to the email you are sending to onset. Okay, or used when the report has to be mailed to particular person. Okay, we have the report. Okay, so that has to be sent to that needs to be sent to some dedicated person, or we need to send on-site DL. Okay, so that time also we are using email reporting concept. There are some important points we need to consider while developing a report. Reports are always executable programs. Type is always one. We are regularly selecting this, right? Executable program. Okay, in the drop down, we are selecting executable program. The background, the type is one. So every report corresponding to the particular type, like sales, distribution, finance, or cross application. However, this is not mandatory. Majority of projects developers are not selecting this until unless there is a special naming and rule formatting. We are not selecting this. Report program is a event-driven programming testing. Okay, we'll see those events now. The first line of report is always report with report name. This we already see last 30 to 40 reports, whatever we created in each and every report. Whenever we click on create, an editor first report keyword and report name is generated. That we already saw. To suppress the list heading or name of the program. Okay. So additionally, what we are writing, no standard page heading. This also we are using regularly. So there is a list heading. We don't want to be displayed on the output screen. It should be on the title of the program, or title of the output only. So that can also be deleted using the standard page heading keyword. So line size of particular report can be set using the addition. Okay, line size, if you set line size, we should not write the logic more than that. That also can be defined here. Line count. Okay, so line count also can be defined. Suppose if you wanted to display every 30 lines, you have to break the pages, like page 1, 2, 3, 4, like in the output. So we can mention those 30 lines, 30 number here, line count 30 of 2. So this N1 is for footer purpose. So here N is the number of lines in the page, N1 is the number of lines reserved for the page footer. So this, if you're planning to display something on the footer, then this keyword should be present in the report line, in this line. This one, and no stand page heading, line size, line count, all this keyword should be in the same line, report line. And to display any information or error messages, we supposed to add some custom messages or standard messages. If we plan to use standard messages, then we can use message ID keyword and we can use some message IDs. This can be checked in SC91. There are a number of message IDs which are related to each module. If you know the message IDs, we can use that message IDs here and we can use those message numbers. Or we can create custom message ID and we can place that message ID in the program line, and those messages can be used across the program. Okay. Understood? All these 3 slides. Any queries?
We are fine. Yeah.
Now reports. Okay. Reports, we have 3 types: classical, interactive ALV, and the basic core ABAP we are telling. Okay, advanced ABAP, we have OOPS ALV also. Classical, interactive ALV are the core ABAP types of ALVs. We'll start with classical report. Okay. So you can see here classical reports are most basic ABAP reports which contain both selection screen and output screen. So what is selection screen? Whatever we created using parameter select options is a selection screen. Output screen is coming using the write keyword. Whatever we can display using write, that comes under output screen. So SAP ABAP is an event-driven programming language, and programs are executed based on the events, not line by line. Okay, so there are other programming languages which are running line by line, but here the whole program will be running based on the events only. Okay, so we have these many events, 11 events we have. These are all 11 events, and this is a sequence actually. Classical reports are non-interactive reports. So the second type of reports is interactive. We're just trying to say that this is non-interactive. Basically, it consists only one program and one report or one list we can say. We have explanation of each event. Load of program, the load of program. Okay, let me show first. We have 11 events here, right? Load of program, initialization, Add selection screen output, add selection screen on field, add selection screen on value request for, okay, add selection screen on help request for, add selection screen, start of selection, end of selection, top of page, end of page. Okay. We'll see what all these events. So load of program event loads the program into memory for execution always. Always load of the program as a first event in execution sequence. So basically load of program mentioned in the report level now. So that will be defaultly it will call in the background. If you are mentioned in the report level something we are using some logic we are initiating that at the under the event normally. Okay. So whenever we click on execute, automatically load of the program will come. So what this will do for every program when we activate it, some runtime memory will some runtime object we call that object will be stored in the memory. Okay, ABAP memory or database memory we can say. So whenever we click on F8, that program will be loaded from the database memory to runtime memory. Okay, when it comes to the runtime memory, then remaining events will start executing. Okay, this is the first event when it will loads the program from the memory. Okay. So initialization is for the initialize the variables, screen values, and other default actions like last time also we used initialization event. Button 1 equal to addition, button 2 equal to subtraction. We use right. My program iPhone screen number 100 active tab button we use for selection screen second program under initialization event. So basically initialization event to initialize the values of selection screen variables and normal variables also, but mostly we prefer the selection screen variables to be initialized under the initialization event. And the core ABAP level I'm telling. So our selection screen output. This is for manipulation of the screen or manipulate dynamic selection screen changes. If you're aware of that, you might see in the websites like flight booking websites, bus booking website. When you are clicking return journey, that time only return date is enabled. If you are clicking onward journey, return date will be gray out or it might be hide. All right, you might be observed that. So similarly here also in the screen level, if you want to hide some fields or enable the fields, if there are two radio buttons, if you click on radio button, some group of parameters should be displayed. If you click on second radio button, those that existing three should be disabled and a new three fields to be enabled. All can be done through at selection screen output. Basically, we can manipulate everything under this. On field, this is for at selection screen on field. This is for validating a single input parameter. It is used to validate the screen parameter. And value request, this is to provide F4 option similar to such help. Okay. So such help we can directly attach to the selection screen. But here, if you want to write additional logic other than the such help, then we can write here by F4 help. And help request, at selection help request, this is just kind of documentation we can attach. Because we create some field and we provide to the user. Sometimes users will be getting confused what they're supposed to fill that particular field. Okay, so that time we can provide that the documentation for the fields using F1 help. At selection screen, this is also using to validate the screen inputs, but difference between on field and on screen is this is only for single parameter. This is for multiple parameters. And one more difference is if there is an error on the screen, the other fields will be visible in the screen level. We can't able to edit other fields. But if there is an error under this event, other fields can be editable. So that is the main difference. And startup selection, if whenever we are starting to read the actual business logic and the reporting level, before that we are using startup selection. Actual business logic means always select queries only, or function models which are reading the data from database. Those two only we consider as a actual business logic. Before that, we are using startup selection. And immediately once the activity is done, we are closing end of selection. So this also 90% we are not preferring, but in HR systems, we should write this. Otherwise, it will not capture proper data. In normal ECC system, 90% it's not required. It will work automatically. So after start of selection, we can continue the remaining code. So top of page, end of page. Top of page for the heading of all pages. End of page, footer for all pages. Basically, heading and footer purpose we are using these two events. Is this clear?
Yeah, it is.
So now I'm going to develop one requirement. Okay, using classical report, and same requirement I'll ask you to develop for other table. Okay. Okay. So Mara table. So I'm going to write the report for Mara table. We wanted to read some material information using material type. All FEAT, FERT related finished products materials I wanted to display on the screen, and I should have two options on the report level. One is for display and another for download. Okay, so we're going to develop those two requirements in a single selection scheme for this report. Okay, so we have 4,370 entries to be displayed. Okay, we'll go to SC38, 3080. I can see here executable program. What is the value here? 1. That is the point I was mentioning there. Executable program which with type 1. Okay, remaining are different values. What is the meaning of one and executable program? From where this data is coming? All this data. Did you remember that student locations, HYD is Hyderabad, BLR is Bangalore, MEI is Chennai, we define right in table level, student table. Where we define those values? At which object level we define those?
Just the domain level.
Yeah, so domain level. You see, if I click on F1, okay, in F1, technical information. Okay, here we have a data element. Double click on subc, go to this domain, subc domain. In the value range, we define those. I can see all are under value range. One is execute program. Basically, these are all the fixed values are the background values. This is the just basic front-end information. In database level, it will store only one. It will not store execute program. Okay. These values are coming in the drop-down. Okay.
Kishore, under what report or what program this is created, these drop downs?
So that we can check in the system status. I'll show that once the report is done. Or you can open SC38 and you can check this system status. There we can see the standard program, RS ABAP something.
Okay, continue.
Yeah. That program, they are loading this data domain. So this is a model full screen. We have to discuss how to design this. Okay. So execute program, click on save. Save in the package and transport. So you can see the report and report name. This point also we discuss. Okay, so executable program type 1 is always, and in that screen, I think that screen is, we cross that screen. Let me open again here. This is a screen, right? Execute program is selected. We have a status also. What kind of program is it? Test program, customer production program. If it is a real-time environment, if it is a business-related program, we can select customer production programs. If you are creating test programs, you can select test programs. And in the application, we have to select the report is relevant to which module or which application. Okay, now we are getting material related. If anything related is there, we can use the material management, we can select. Okay, but we are not regularly, many of the developers are not regularly selecting. But if there is a rules in the particular project, anyway, they will give the rules and ABAP naming document when you are onboarding into the project. We don't need to worry on that. Only the thing is, we need to understand all the points and we need to follow those. Okay, and authorization group from the security point of view, you want to restrict this report to any of the user, then we can provide authorization objects. There are thousands, lakhs of authorization objects. We can select a relevant authorization object. Okay. This is report and report name that also we mentioned here, and no standard page heading which we are regularly using to suppress the list here. I mean title of the report in the output screen. And then line size, line count, message ID will use whenever there is a requirement come, not in this report. The line count we are going to use in this report, but line size and message ID we are not going to use in this report. We can use in the further reports also. So how many events we have? 11 events. First one is load of program, initialization, selection screen output, selection screen on field. We don't have any fields. Just commenting this. Fields means selection screen fields. We are ready to discuss selection screen. And at selection screen on value request for, that is also for field. We need the field, then only we can enable those. Help request for at selection screen, start of selection, end of selection, top of page, end of page. 11 events are there. For these 3 events, there is a dependency. We need a selection screen, then only we can say. Okay. So now what was the requirement I told? I wanted to display material information. Consider for 10 fields, material information for 10 fields. Either we wanted to display or we need to go to the download option. Okay. So now we need to create selection screen for that. Okay. So selection screen. Selection screen. Begin of block A with frame title text 001. Selection screen end of block. We created the block. Here I'm just creating select options. What is the use of select options? For ranges we can select. For material I'm creating select options for Mara MATN. Okay. and I'm creating parameters for material type. We need to consider material type also, right? FERT. That is the requirement. Okay. With this, it is close. Just below, just click on save. I just mentioned all the events will develop one by one. Okay. So Mara is not presenting. What I'll do here. We need 10 key fields to be selected. Right? I'll create structure. Here Mara directly will not. It is not identified. What we're supposed to do last time. What we did for Mara -MATNR. If you see field MATNR is unknown. It is not able to identify the Mara table. Last time we used tables keyword. Tables Mara. Selection screen. See no errors. Only warnings. We can use this way. But still we are using, we are going to use the structure and internal table work area. Now we can use work area. I'll declare here. I'll create the structure. From our 10 fields, year NM, year SDA, year NAM, material type, input sector, material group, basic unit of measure. How many fields? 7 fields. I can take net to right. What is the location of this? Okay, this 8 is fine. Mandate will take 9 fields. Yeah. So whatever I'm selecting, those are only common fields which are using in all kind of projects wherever there is a material concept. Okay. Types, and we need internal table and work area to be created. IT underscore type table of TY Mara. Okay, Mara type TY Mara. So here we'll use work area. Okay. Click on save. Check. Work area Mara hyphen MTRT. Okay, here it is not required. It is activated, execute. Are you able to see both fields here? R and MTRT. You need to mask these two fields. I can mask through. Go to text elements, selection text. Okay. Save. And we have a text element 001. Material report. Activate. I've understood material report, material type. Okay. So now if you provide materials 1 to 10,000 and material type FER. Okay, we provided the input, but we wanted to take the decision in the screen whether I wanted to display or whether I wanted to download. Okay, for that we need some additional parameters here. So what I'm going to do, I'll create one checkbox here. Parameter P underscore check one type C as checkbox. Okay, for this one, I'll consider this checkbox. If I select this checkbox, I wanted to download. If I'm not selecting this, I will be display. So that kind of logic can be built based on this checkbox. But I'll write some text here. Go to text elements, selection text. The checkbox is not the dictionary reference. It's a basic type C. Type C is the elementary data type. Okay, you have to write here. Writing, do you want to download? Asking the question to the user. If they want download, then they will select. Okay. Let's see how output is generated. We have the checkbox. Do you want to download? If I select something, it's supposed to download. Where to download? Where to download? We have option. We don't have option. But if you want to provide that option also, we can create selection screen. And users always they don't want 4,370 entries. They wanted to download only limited fields. That can also be considered. Okay. So what I'm going to do for that, I'll create one more block. Selection screen. Block B with frame title text 002. Selection screen. End of block B with it's just close. Here I'm just creating two parameters. Parameters P underscore file type local file. Okay. And one more is P underscore number type integer. Two parameters I created. Number should be 2 here. Okay. If I execute, you can see it. File and number also come. We need to mask those two fields as well. Go to text elements, selection text. Here, there is a dictionary reference. I can select this. For this, we don't have. Number of it. Okay. The file name is auto-populated because of dictionary reference. Click on save, activate. I think we have two also there. Number 2 that also be done here. Download options. Activated. Don't ask this text symbols. What is parameter? What is select options? This we already spent 2 reports we created. We spent 3 sessions. Let's execute. Okay. Now we can see here download options, file name, and number of entries. Right. If I select this, I have to fill the file name and number of entries I have to keep. Okay, here I have to select the file. There is an F4 option. What file I supposed to provide here? I need to go to the desktop. There I have to right click on some file. I need to copy the file path. Providing here it is very difficult. Okay, so SAP providing some option. Write logic. What is the field name here? P underscore file. Okay, so we can write under value request. P underscore file. I didn't write any code, but you can see how this will be in the screen level. P underscore file. We have to write the code, but since I just enable the event, we can see here F4 option. Okay, this is a value request for, but if I click on this is not working because we didn't write any logic. Okay, for files, specifically for file selection, we have a function model called F4 file name. Okay, you can see code is generated. Okay, here just enable all the fields. System, current program, system, current screen. Field name is P underscore file. This is the technical selection screen name, right? And where I supposed to store? I'll store same variable on file path. If I click on save, check and activate. Okay, in the file name, if you click on F4, you can see it is asking a desktop file, right? You can select this. Understood how this F4 option is working?
Yeah, Kishore. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, okay. So next step is here. Basically, I'm expecting when I execute, this field supposed to be disabled by default. This total block, second block. Okay. Whenever I select this checkbox, then only it should be enabled. So by default, this block should be disabled. If I click on this checkbox, then only this block should be enabled. Okay, so that is a requirement because download option is not the by default. Whenever I decided to download the content, that time only I need the file and number of entries. Okay, so that logic will write in app selection screen output. Okay, here we'll write this. So what is the decision maker here? Checkbox. If p underscore check, this is a field name, is initial. What is the is initial? Is initial, is not initial.
Don't remember, Kishore.
Yes. I'll ask 2 to 3 sessions please. And is initial means if it is not selected. Basically, it's not selected or selected. That is not the case. Is initial means if there is a false. Is not initial means true. If you are using for internal table, is initial means there is no entries. Is not initial means there is entries. If you are talking about checkboxes, if it is selected, is not initial. If it is not selected, is initial. So we are writing condition here. If it is not selected, then by default the second block should be visible. Okay. So all the selection screen parameters under the one screen structure in runtime, which we didn't create, that is always will be active in the selection screen. Okay, that we call it as a screen structure. I'll show from S11. It's a standard structure. Structure comes under data type. Screen. It's a standard structure. We have 17 fields here. Name of the screen, group 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 groups, required input, output, intensity field, invisible, length, active display, 3D options, color we can provide a request, values in combo. Okay, there are 17 fields here. In this, we are going to use few fields now to understand. Group is the main one for the comparison. Okay. So now first I'm just looping the screen. Okay, everything comes under screen, every parameter. Okay. You are aware of, right, looping the internal table, what will happen, and same looping the screen also. Every parameter now comes under this loop. In screen, suppose we have 10 parameters, all 10 parameters. How many parameters we have? We have 5 parameters. Selection screen, matter, MTRT, checkbox, file, and number. Total 5 are there. 5 will comes under this loop. Now inside, and I am writing one more if condition. If screen, how many fields we have? We have 17 fields. I'm using group 1 field. Screen group 1 equals to ABC example. If there is a group with ABC name, I wanted to disable those fields. Screen, I'll use output or input also we can use. Input 0. and immediately I'm modifying this screen. What is the use of modify? Modify is the keyword to modify the internal tables and work area, basically internal tables at runtime. So this screen input 0 was not there. Now we are adding this value and immediately we are modifying the screen. When we modify, so this input 0 means I don't want to disable that. I don't want to enable that. We are making disable. 0 is false, making that disable. Now here group equal to ABC we wrote. Is there any group options we didn't mention here? We didn't mention any group here. Now I'm grouping these two parameters, p underscore file, p underscore number, using additional keyword called modified. Modified ABC, modified ABC. So how many, if you write this modified for 5 fields using the same name, all 5 fields comes under single group. Now this condition will be satisfied. Okay. When the screen is under loop, this value will automatically fill with ABC. ABC equal to ABC. Then it will go inside condition is satisfied. It will go inside if condition, then input equal to 0. And we are modifying the screen. So automatically these two fields will be visible or gray out. Okay. Click on save. Check. Activate. So I'm just executing. Are you able to see this? The two fields are gray out now. I'm not able to enter anything. Did you observe this?
Yeah.
When this is supposed to be enabled, if I click on this checkbox, this should be enabled like this. But I click 4 times. After 4 times, this is working, but it should work in the first time only. See, now after 4 times again it is gray. They should work in the one-time activity. So in SAP screen, for every screen click, okay, that we call as user command. We are also using selection screen second report to switch between the addition subtraction tabs. If you remember that user command option, push 1, push 2 we created. For selection screen program 2, are you able to see this one? Push 1, push 2, we wrote it for this subscreen app when we discuss subscreens. Why we need this user command? Whenever you click on this user command, we are considering this IUCOM. If it is a push 1 user command, this will be displayed second time. User command means user clicks. Now I'm going to click on subtraction, that is a user command. If I click on addition, that is a user command. So when user command is happened, this will condition will satisfy. That particular screen is where activating. Similarly here, everywhere whenever there is a user clicks, that will consider as users. Users click comes under user command. So we need to add the user command here, but consider as a user clicks. Otherwise, after 4 times, 5 times, sometimes it will not work. So now I just added user command. We don't need to use anywhere that user command. But since the user command is there, automatically user command will call this event automatically. Activate. As I'll execute. Now it is gray out. I'm just clicking this one time only. Now see it is enabled. If I delete this, for one time only it is gray out. But this is not client want. He wanted to disable the whole block, not the fields. Okay. So in that case, what we need to do here, instead of input and output, we have a button called active field. Sorry, it's not a button, it's a field. or let it make 40. So comment this line. Okay. Check. Back to it. Execute. Are you able to see the second block?
Yeah, Kishore, yeah.
Is it visible? Second block.
It's not visible.
If I click on this checkbox, that is visible. If I click on this again, it will be removed. Okay. All these manipulations can be done using at selection screen output. Okay. So now this event also done. Okay. I want to show initialization, right? So initialization basically for initialize the values. Default, we use the default keyword also last time. If you want to write default material type FPRT, we can perform here using default, or we can also use initialization event. Also from default first, then I'll see default FPRT. This same thing we can do in initialization also. Okay. We can directly write P_MTRT equals to FPRT. And this also comes under as a default value to the material type. Okay. That is about initialization. So one is at selection screen on field. Here it is there. P_MTRT. I wanted to validate this material type. FPRT is the default. For that it is okay. Suppose user wants to use different material type. Okay, suppose if you provide wrong material type, then output will be not coming properly, right? We should validate whether the material type is correct one or wrong one. Okay. How to validate that material types? We provided ABCD. How to validate that ABCD? Okay. So suppose for student table, there is a location. Okay. You might see that the student age when we click on, when we enter other than the 25 to 20, between the 20 to 25, that is the range we provided. Other than that, if you provide it, it is not allowing. From where it is doing validation? Our locations, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai is that. Other than that, we are not able to provide anything. Why? Because
Hello, Kishore.
yeah, in the type of the
Not here.
program also. Yeah. No, I'm just asking questions whether you're able to relate to some discussed concept or not. Okay. So in student table, when we create the entries, location, we are not able to give different location other than the provided locations in the drop down. Okay, from where those locations are coming and why it is not allowing different values.
We in the same domain, under the domain we have maintained the range. There is an option.
Yes. Yeah. So domain is restricting that. Our domain is validating the value. So similarly for material type also we need to check whether is there whether there is a validation in the domain level or not. From which table we can check this domain is comes under data element. From Mara table we have this field. Go to this field MTRT. So this is a field. We have this data element. Open this data element material type. This is the domain. Open this domain. Go to the value range. Do we have any fixed values here?
No.
Do we have any intervals here? Lower limit, upper limit.
No.
But still we have we can validate using the value table concept. Here there is a check table and value table concept. Now we are checking the value in Mara table and we are validating in T134 table. If this is the table, if I double click this, it will open table. You can see this is also transparent table, which is the material types. All material types will be stored here. We can see all 81 material types. Yesterday we saw that material types like Jayanti Prasanna, you there in yesterday's session. When you use the distinct values, we got 80, 81, which are there in Mara table, but actual table we have 88. So if user is provided ABCD, we have to check whether that ABCD is there in this column, in this table or not. If that is not there in this table, then it's a wrong value. Because this is a master table of material types, T134. Okay. Now we have to write the logic to validate the data in T134 table. Okay. Come to this position at selection screen on field. Just writing select MTRT. We have another screen. I'll open here. That's T134 table. T134. What is the field? It's a material type, MTRT only. We wanted to validate only one field from T134 into T underscore MTRT, where MTRT equals to T underscore MTRT. Is this select query understood? Is this understood or it is not understood? The select query, what we are doing in the select query. So this P underscore MTRT, from where this value is reading? This is reading from our selection scan. Okay, already FERT we initialized here. Suppose if user is entered ABCD, so that value we supposed to check. So I'm passing that ABCD value in this table. Okay, which table? T134. What I'm doing, I'm just reading this ABCD value for this field. I don't want to read the whole table. I just want to check only one value. So I'm just reading MTRT. If there is a ABCD, what will happen? That data will transfer to this variable. Again, I'm using same variable instead of creating one more variable. Automatically, memory also will increase. If there is a data, it will override this. If it is override, means same value only, right? If suppose we are passing ABCD, if there is a ABCD, the same ABCD will come here. Already ABCD is there. Again, if it will override with ABCD also, there is no any difference. If there is no value here, ABCD is not there, then it will not transfer to into parameter. So this will not change anyway. If this is not transferred, what will happen as per programming? In debug mode, you might see size of RC will fail. If size of RC not equal to 0, is 0 is a success. If there is a value and this value is transferred to P underscore MTRT, then size of RC is 0. If there is failure, if that will become a not equal to 0. We have to write message. I'm just writing custom message. This way we need to validate the values, user input values. Okay. Save, check. Is the error before the statement? Okay. Is the statement is correct? Yes. There is a one more keyword we have to use because how many entries we are checking here? . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Jayanti, Prasanna, how many entries we are comparison? We are doing comparison. ABCD is only one value. One value means we are just checking for single entry because this is also transparent table. And this is also master table, right? 88 entries means that will become always master entries because there is no duplicate values. And we are also checking the value for only material type, not for other fields. So this is always will be single value we are checking. So if you are writing select query for single record and single column we are checking. Basically record wise it's a single record. If you are using single record, we should use always select single. And this is the value of the primary key we are using in while condition. So last session we discussed if you want to read a single entry from database, we need to use select single, and where condition we should use the primary key fields. MTRT is the primary key in this T134 table. So that is the error we are getting here. The error is rectified, activate. Execute. Okay, FERT is there. If I click on F8, nothing is happening. So everything is fine. Now I'm just removing this FERT. I'll enter ABCD. If I click on F8, I can see it. What is the message here? You can see in the status bar. Are you able to read this? Material type is not part of master table. So this is validating the T134 table. So if we get this kind of error, are we able to edit this checkbox and material?
No.
So gray out. Okay, that is the problem with that selection screen on field. So to overcome this, same code we can write at selection screen. I'm just commenting this event. If you write the same logic here, other fields can be editable. This is also for validation of fields only, but this event we can validate multiple fields. We can write logic for another field also. But here it is specific to P underscore MTRT on P underscore MTRT. That time only it will work. Okay. Now again we are validating the same field, but that time you can see highlight ABCD. You can see material type is not part of master table, but other fields are editable. Understood the difference between at selection screen on field at selection screen? That is an interview question. Difference between these two events. Okay. So I'm not going to revert this code since this will be gray out other fields as well. So we understood this event functionality. I'll just comment. Now help request for this I'm using for P underscore number. And I wanted to download. I want to provide some information if user is not understanding for that field. I just executed. I wanted to download. I select this here. I don't know what I'm supposed to fill as the user. Number of entries. What is number of entries? I don't know what I'm supposed to provide. So this time users used to click on F4 F1 button. If users click on, see not this one. I have to place cursor here. If I click on F1, then nothing is working. Users are expecting some documentation for this field. So that can be created using at selection screen on help request for. I'm just writing some message. Number of entries which you want to download. It is creating information message. Okay, I just selected download. If I press F1 here, you can see a number of entries which you want to download. So we can give some relevant information, users can be understand it. Okay, so we can also attach here, no documentation available. We can also provide some documentation. This is difficult approach, and this is a basic information. Okay. Okay, if you wanted to convert that question mark documentation, then we have to convert this message as a message class AC91. There we can do some long text translations and all. So there we can provide detailed documentation. So there's a basic information. I just provided here to understand this event. So as of now, we understood selection screen declaration, that is common only. We understood initialization event, how to provide default values at selection screen, on field, value request, help request at selection screen. Okay, still we have start of selection, end of selection, top of page, end of page, and in the top we have a load of the program, that event also there. Okay, so all these things we can see in tomorrow's session.